Welcome back to Füssen in Germany. Getting a good look around this beautiful old town where we're hosting the World Curling Federation Olympic Qualification 2013. That's the BLZ Arena, and that's where we are for this morning's draw. Quite an uncivilized hour. Myself and Roberts have been forced to get up this morning. And our featured game is going to be between Latvia and China. Different records. China off to a perfect start on 3-0 against Latvia on 1 win and 3 losses, and very much on their last lifeline at the moment. That's the Latvian team. They're thrilled to have the last stone in the first end after a perfect pin draw before the game. Betty Wang just off the button with her draw. And let's have a little look at the teams. Roberts.
Okay, so this is the lead of the Latvian team, Una Järmanen. The second of the team is Anda Bikše. Third and vice skip Ieva Krusta. And the skip of the team, Iveta Stasha-Šaršūne. The alternate is Jacqueline Litaunet and coach is Carrie Wilms.
And then the Chinese team, that's Yan Zhou playing lead stones. Jingshuang Yue throwing second stones. Yin Liu throwing the third stones. And Bing Yuang, of course, Betty, throwing the skip stones for the Chinese team. And this is the standings after 4 draws. China and Japan both have had their bye, but both perfect on 3-0. Germany and Czech Republic both on 2 wins, and Latvia and Norway both on 1. Italy still to get off the mark. And of course it is just 7 teams in this competition. Elsewhere on the ice, Germany and Japan going head to head. Norway and Italy and Czech Republic getting a pretty good bye, the 8 o'clock in the morning draw. So Latvia are going to be playing the red stones on sheet D, and China will be throwing the yellow stones. We've seen this sheet used a couple of times for pre-game practice, and Yan Zhou gets us underway here in draw 5, the 31-year-old. And my name is Luke Gray. Once again, I'm joined by Robert Spierznieks, Latvian curling expert. And we saw a really disappointing loss for Latvia yesterday afternoon, Roberts. How do you think your team will bounce back from that disappointment?
Well, hopefully they've had a good rest. They had the evening off yesterday, had a good night's sleep. Their heads are back on together. It will be very difficult, but it's still doable. 2 victories in the last 2 games, and if the results go our way, I think they still have a chance. So they just need to keep at it, keep calm, and keep doing what they can do.
China are the big favourites this week for a lot of people. Does that change their game plan at all?
Well, I think we will see a little bit more of a defensive strategy today from the Latvian team, because as you rightly pointed out, China is the favorite in this tournament. So I think they will be more careful. I hope we will see an exciting game, but I'm quite sure that it will be much more defensive than what we saw yesterday.
Well, it certainly looks that way so far, Roberts. Both teams quite content to play in the house here in their first end. So here's in Germany. Had a really good game yesterday against Japan. Some great setup play by the Latvian lead. And things for sure against this Chinese team. They'll need the same again today.
Yes, without good setup play, it's very, very difficult to win a game. So hopefully she will be at the same high standard she was at yesterday. But currently it's just stones being swapped in the house. The second of the Chinese team.
Jingshuang Yue. Thank you.
明白了？没有。一来。
Now he's in second on the Latvian team, John Bikša, 43 years old.
And of course, Latvia won their first game against Italy by 8 shots to 7, but then since have suffered 3 defeats in a row. They really seemed to have Japan where they wanted them yesterday afternoon, but just couldn't get over that finishing line. And eventually lost out by 9 shots to 7 to go 1 win and 3 losses. China, however, off to a perfect start. They defeated 2010 world champion Andrea Schott by 7 shots to 6, German side. Then the Czech Republic and Norway to go 3 wins and no losses. And they have Latvia, Italy and Japan still to come. There's the rules of play. They don't change during the round robin. 6 hands minimum must be played, 73 minutes for each team, and 1 coach interaction available to each team. And of course, when the coach arrives, the clocks do start to run again after initially being stopped. I'll hit and roll out there by Chinese, and Bikša just trying to throw one into the house here. Looking a bit pacey at the moment.
You
have to say that Zana has actually had quite a difficult tournament in terms of executing her shots. So I hope she will get better today.
Yeah, just looking at the playing percentages for the teams, no surprise to see China at the top of the stats by a clear 5%. That's definitely going to convert into points on the board over the course of the week, especially if your skip's playing well. This is Eva Krusta, who really struggled yesterday against Japan. Looking for a good bounce back from her today.
OK， 举示力量啊！我感觉不够啊。这边好像偏4一点。4、5、5 ，OK。这个能记赢了啊！行，赢。Good safety. Good safety.
Both teams still happy to play the defensive game. Just going into the rings before the D-line.
Very smooth. Very smooth. Oh. Yep.
That looked like 2 pretty good throws from Krusta to get this game underway. A couple of confidence boosting hits after she really looked completely lost out there yesterday in the second half of the game. And it's so difficult to bounce back when you're in that frame of mind, isn't it, Roberts?
Oh, it must be very, very difficult to come back after such a roller coaster of a game that they had yesterday against Japan, where the lead changed hands 3 or 4 times, and it was nerves all the way.
Here's a very familiar Bing Yuang, the 2009 world champion. Real shock to see China here this week. They are one of the best women's teams in the world. Just seem to lose their way over the last couple of years. Myself and Mike Harris discussed this a little bit as to the reasons why that might have happened. And Mike's input was very much that maybe just a little bit of burnout, too much training, and with the introduction of the new national coach, Marcel Rock, one of his fixes was actually to try and get the team to throw a little bit less, just to relax them a little bit, try and bring some enjoyment back to what they were doing, and certainly seen a big difference this season. They've had some really good performances on the World Curling Tour as well.
Yes, they seem to be regaining their form for the Olympics, so I mean, that's what all the curling athletes are aiming for. Let's give them the Latvian team here with the Starsharshun delivering her first stones.
I always said numerous times this week, Iveta, very much a draw player, just a super draw player. We saw with her draw before the game, put one right on the pinhole to get the last stone advantage here in the first, but making a good open takeout here to start the game.
Just trying to move the play out onto the wings a little bit, maybe force a small mistake from the Chinese skip, but clinical in her execution, as usual.
Oh, Betty just speaking to her third player just about the releases there. Of course, you can slide in the same line, but if you don't release it the same every time, then they are going to do different things.
Okay, so even to start Starsharshun making a clean takeout. I think they did want to blank the end, but weren't quite successful in it and couldn't get out their shot clock. So they'll start off on second end.
Well, no harm done, and after one end, it's Latvia 1, China 0.
Latvian lead on the German, getting the second end underway.
Oh, Latvia leading China by one shot, 2-0. Roberts, if Latvia could win this game, do you think it would be the biggest win ever for Latvia women's curling?
Oh, probably not. We've had wins against the Team Trinzoni in the 2013 World Championships in Riga. Also, Team USA has been beaten in 2010 World Championships. Canada. But it would be definitely up there as one of the greatest ones for the Latvian women's team.
Well, there's no doubt this is one of the biggest stages of them all. Trying to qualify for the Olympic Games. As you said yesterday, Roberts, just the pinnacle of our sport and every sport, every Olympic sport anyway. So, however, Latvia have suffered 3 defeats already this week, and this is a must-win game.
Sleeping hard, trying to get the guard as close to the house as possible. And again, very good setup play from Una, I think.
A really good weight. And Una currently second of all the leads, actually, as far as the statistics go.
That is very comforting to hear.
Second only to Yanzhou, of course, the Chinese lead.
Might I also add that China is one of the few teams actually in the world who are professionals. This is their day job. This is what they do for a living. They only curl.
Absolutely, and they spend a lot of time in Canada training there. Yanzhou, disappointed look on her face. That one's over curls and chips that red guard into the rings. So I think Latvia just going to run out and put another guard up here. Sander Bikšek. Well, this one just a bit hot and runs right down. That's far too heavy there from Sander Bikšek.
Yes, that was definitely not guard weight.
So Roberts, we mentioned the Chinese team are full-time athletes. Can you give us an idea of the sort of the amount of time that the Latvians would put in?
Well, the girls are very, very dedicated to the sport of curling, so all their vacation time is spent in tournaments, getting ready. In Riga, at the local curling hall, they come almost every day for practice. They put in as much time as they can, but of course it's a little bit more difficult when you have a day job to devote as much time as you'd actually want to devote to curling.
Absolutely right, Roberts. And over here on sheet B, here is Ayumi Ogasawara throwing final stones for the perfect Japan 3-0 up against Andrea Schopp of Germany. This is the final stone of first end, Onodera and Tomobechi on the brushes. Oh, and this looks like a super draw. Great sweepers, the Japanese. And that one touches the forefoot against 3 reds. And lots of smiles from the Japanese. And off to a good start, leading Japan by 1-0. So here's Jin Chuang-Yue in our featured game. Chinese second, trying to play a freeze here in the pocket creative between these 2 red stones. Just bounces off the freeze, and that should give Latvia the chance to make this takeout between the 2 red stones.
Yeah, the shot looked a little bit heavy. It bounced off and gives Yellow-Crossed a chance to clear out the Yellowstone.
Well, this one's over curling. And will it do enough to get this Yellowstone out? It will do. Squeezes it through.
像这粘一个好，还是先旋一个好？往哪？我感觉这边旋进可能不太好旋。现在这来一个。
Good to see this is a much more aggressive end than the first one.
Oh, absolutely. I think both teams just content to play themselves into this game, get used to the ice conditions, get a little feel for their opposition as well. Well, when you're playing an open freeze like this, you absolutely have to get it there. You cannot drop it short. And will it get into second shot? It will not, and that's just the cardinal sin, really, from Yin. Needed to get that down there onto that redstone and into shot position. So now Latvia can use that as a guard, and a really nice chance here in the second end for Latvia to really apply some pressure to Betty Wang. So Yellow-Crossed needs to stay in front of the T line here. That's the key. Well, there's more than one way to do these things. Some good skipping there by Stasa Sarsuna. Chips off that redstone at the front ring and directly in behind that yellow guard.
A little bit of luck, but as you rightly said yesterday, that's what makes a good skipper. Always finding these second and third choices.
Control.
Well, going for the straight run here, Yin Liu. Makes the raise, but doesn't stick around, and it will be another chance for a draw here. You might see Stasa Sarsuna coming on the other handle this time. Hits it just a fraction off the nose. We are just talking fractions. That makes all the difference to whether you hit and stick that shot or it hits and rolls out. Well, Stasa Sarsuna, who said is a terrific draw player. So needing a good one here. It's looking a little bit hot at the moment, Roberts.
Yeah, that's what the players are communicating on the ice, that it's heavy and coming towards the end of the house.
Well, a bit of a let-off here for China. Anywhere in front of the T-line, really. Would have been better than that. And China with a chance now to come down and come around that guard or even freeze on that back red.
14秒，14秒。行，14秒，14秒5，他那个我掐13秒1是。
A wonderful shot of situation on the ice, as the skip will see it. Skip on the Chinese team, Betty Wang, delivering her first stone, looking for a good shot.
Oh, look at this. The handles come right out of this one, and it's just walking in sideways. Comes up nice, though, on the tee line. And I think freeze is probably the right shot here for Latvia. Don't think they can really go after that Yellowstone and try and take it out.
Looks like it stopped very much in line with the guard in front.
Yeah,
very difficult to get rid of it.
Yeah, you see from that previous angle that almost fully buried behind that guard. Maybe just an inch showing on the outside.
So Iveta will be looking for the freeze on the Yellowstone right on the bottom. Which in theory should be quite easy. I mean, just like the draw shot before the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And she did play on the in-turn as well, so I think the sweepers will be quite happy to see this draw coming down on this handle. So just really trying to stop China from scoring two here. Anywhere kind of at the front of the 8 foot at least blocks the path in. Well, a little bit heavy, and that won't curl enough. Doesn't really improve the situation for Latvia, and it's going to be the same draw again for China. I think personally I would have preferred to throw the draw on the other handle, although they played their draw shot on that side.
Yeah, I think it was just a case of them being more comfortable on this in-turn side.
I think if they make a reasonably good shot on that out-turn side, they at least force China to play a draw on the other hand. So you always hate to make the opposition skip throw the same draw twice for two. But here it is. Betty Wang drawing for two here in this second end. Just played it, lots of backing. Needs to find a piece of the 4 foot to score two for China. Running a much wider line at the moment. The sweeper is really going to have to go to town on this one to get it there. It's not going to be enough. And just a score of 1 in the end. Latvia off the hook really after a couple of misses. Some great opportunities though. And after 2 ends, it's Latvia 1, China 1. Welcome back to the World Curling Federation Olympic qualification event. Live here from the BLZ Arena in Füssen, Germany. This is draw 5 of the women's competition, a 7-team competition where 2 teams qualify for the Olympic Games in Sochi in February 2014. And China perfect on 3-0, looking pretty good. Tied game after 2 ends, and Latvia really need a win here to keep their Olympic dream alive. This is Una Germany throwing lead stones for Latvia, and if you just joined us for the first time this week, my voice is Logan Gray, and alongside me this morning, once again, I have Robert Bierznieks. So Latvia choosing to draw the wing, and Roberts, he did say that we expected the Latvians to maybe call a slightly more defensive game, and that's a sure sign right there.
Yeah, as I said, they're up against one of the favorites, so they can't really risk being very attacking.
Yeah, anyway, over here on sheet B, Germany and Japan. Vershov throwing the red stones for Germany. See, that's a... Reds are flying second shot at the moment. There's a Japanese yellow stone on the button. And just trying to work out the best way in. Meanwhile, in our featured game, China and Latvia, a really nice come around there by Yan Zhou. Made a mistake in the last end, but gets it together here in the third and makes a really nice come around. This is Andrea, most experienced player in the competition. Trying to make the angled raise here. Just a quiet wait. And Nice, and Musk-Davids can't hold this one straight. Not even close there really for Andrea. And it's going to be a steal of 1. And Japan off to a cracking start. Now leading Germany by 2 shots to 0 after 2 ends. So actually quite a nice shot here from Germany. Chips the guard. Rolls to a corner. And I don't think I would be too excited about the way things are sitting at the moment for China. They're going to throw a center guard on, so this is actually a very important shot in the end already here. You don't want to make a mess of this center guard and then leave a simple takeout for Latvia to lie 2 with a corner guard on.
It's already a very important shot.
Oh, running a little bit close to the house. Qing Shuangyue. So a chance here for Latvia. Good double takeout, and they can very quickly bring that corner guard into play. Pretty much directly in line, those 2 yellow stones. And the big shape has been struggling on the takeouts. Been missing on the inside a lot. This one looks like it's running a little bit high. Well, I really needed to stick around there.
So China with another chance to put up a better corner, center guard.
So if there has been a slight weak link in the Chinese team this week, it probably has been Qing Shuangyue, just playing a few percent less according to the stats than the rest of her teammates. But she's made a perfect guard here. That's where it needed to be the first time.
That is really close to perfect.
Absolutely directly in line, and a good distance between the guards this time. That's the big difference in this occasion. Not easy to make a double takeout. Would be helpful if they could get that wide yellow. They do not. But gets quite a good shooter there. Rolls over to cover the second shot stone. And it's always a little bit of a precarious position when you're throwing without the last stone and you're only lying one. The opposition are in second shot. Just one slightly misplaced guard and all of a sudden Latvia are going to be heading to lie 2. So precision required here from Yin Liu. Looks to be running a little bit wider than the previous guard.
Super working hard to try and get it in line.
Well, at least half stone still showing to the Latvians here, and this is their chance here. And actually, if they can make a good shot here, they could even roll behind that yellow stone that's lying in third shot at the moment. That would really put them in great shape. Throwing quite a lot of weight at this, I would say. But got a nice line. How's the shooter?
Should stick around.
Well, it sticks around in the house, Roberts, but probably just spins out of second shot position.
Yeah, it looks like it's further out.
Yeah, just maybe too much weight played there for me, I think. They passed the guard quite nicely. Don't want to be forcing yourself to pass it any tighter than that anyway. Just the speed of the stone coming in, that it's taken it as wide as it has.
Yeah, it probably would have been better to see a little bit of a softer takeout shot.
Well, a huge curl here on this out turn. And now Latvia have a chance to hit and lie 3. Excited, Roberts?
Yes, of course. Even despite the early hours in the morning.
I think Iveta just indicating that maybe a hit and roll to the in behind the centre guards would be good here, but kind of thinking a nose hit might be quite good. If you hit and roll behind the centres here, then China hit and stick a short run back, then it's going to be really difficult to get the stone out. So again, just a slight overthrow there by Krista. Still line 2 though, and excellent separation on those 2 red stones. Well, you always hate to lie opposition stones lying about when you don't have the last stone advantage, and I think that's what's playing on Betty's mind at the moment. We could try and play a tap up or a come around on these 2 yellow stones at the centre of your picture, but we're risking giving up 3, so
The Chinese team has something to think about now. Choose between multiple options.
Well, it looks like they're playing the come around. Could well be a little bit more room for error on the draw. Oh, sorry, on the tap up. Roberts, if I was playing against this Latvian team, and we've said time and time again they're not the strongest on the takeouts, they're much more of a draw team, I think I would be tempted to hit the wide one here and do a little bit of damage limitation with the first one. You never know, you might get a hit and roll out from Latvia, and then you're in a better situation to play around the centres, lying only 1 against.
Well, actually, I agree with you. I would probably also go for second shot drop, try to move a little bit to the center, put some more pressure onto Latvia.
Well, this is a tough draw here for Betty. We've seen a lot of curl over this side of the sheet already. pretty good. Got a great line here. Not so important to stay above the tee line, but more important to get in behind the guards, and that's a super draw there by Betty Wang.
That is superb, yes.
Some real bravery shown there by going for the drop, but absolutely nailed it after she picked it.
I think it's not even bravery, it's confidence. Okay, so the Latvian skippy with the Starsharsson looks like she will attempt to at least peel off the guard, free up the center of the rings.
Oh, this is way out there at the moment. Does need to get the guard off here. Just chips it into the rings, but hits it thin enough that still only third shot. So this will still require Betty's full attention. Needs to play a good draw here to force. So it needs to cover the inside edge of this Yellowstone, and also needs to keep it probably no further into the house than the 4-foot circle to not leave a double takeout. So just a few feet to work with here for Wang.
Yeah, I think their top objective is not to leave a double takeout for the last the Latvian team.
确保清洁先。不需要。下楼可以下线场。看力量。可以下线场。45。哦，不太下线啊，这个啊。45。
Well, that's all about depth. The line looks pretty good, and it's really coming in sideways here. Can't be past the top of the 4-foot. That's an absolutely perfect spot there. Super draw weight from Betty.
这块一点点哈，这个它没有放过去。
再稍微放不是放来。
Okay.
This looks like this last shot by Betty Wang will be forcing Iveta Starsharsson just to attempt to take the one, not leaving a double.
Oh, a super hit and stick. Good correction there by Stasys Arsuna, and Latvia staying ahead on the scoreboard here against 2009 world champions China. And after 3 ends, it's Latvia 2, China 1.
So we're back underway for the 4th end, Latvia-China. After a score of 1 in the third, Latvia delivering the first stone.
Well, again, Una Germana showing perfect weight control into the top of the 4-foot circle. And maybe, just maybe, some signs of impatience from China there in the third end. Really pushing hard there to force the one in a situation that could have given up a multiple score. But some super draw play by China, very much getting our team out of trouble. 2 terrific draws, really couldn't have walked up and placed them any better. So a mistake here from Jenny. Zhenzhou. Her kind of Western name is Jenny. So trying to make a hit now on this stone, which has drifted into the rings. China were looking for a corner guard there. Una Germana playing 77% for the tournament. Hits on the wrong side there and leaves a guard that can be usable by the Chinese.
Yeah, I think they wanted to roll a little bit to the center line more.
Yeah, there's really no need to be wide with that stone there, and if you're an experienced skip and you're in that kind of position where you're hitting a corner guard like that, you know your players laid it a little bit wide. It might be better just getting on the sweeping a little bit early and then trying to roll the shooter away. Instead, they've kind of just prayed that it'll come back, and they've left a very usable stone for China.
Okay, 好球。下次你站位拿这个8号，志阳拿那个7号。7号稍微滑一点吗？
On the big shot, delivering her first stone with tournament accuracy of 63%. As we said before, she has struggled a little bit this week.
Well, Latvia going aggressive here. Trying to put a centre guard on, and for me, this is what they need to do. They need to be willing to take a little bit of risk. I don't think they're good enough at the takeout game to be able to make really good hit and sticks and hit and rolls that would be required to play that defensive game. They're obviously a really strong draw team, so maybe throwing the guards and trying to force China to play more difficult shots might be a better way to go. Jingshuang Yue playing 78% for the tournament so far. And passes the guard almost. Oh, actually chips it to a corner. Oh, just a little bit errant there from the Chinese second. Not a lot of handle on the stone, and it just really drifts over the center line. But another perfect guard there from Bikshe. Can they catch on the wide one? Cannot, but just peeling that red stone could be quite useful for China. It makes a draw around that corner guard at the top of your screen a little bit easier.
I think this was the shot that they were attempting with their previous rock. This double clearing of the guards.
So Eva Krusta only playing 63% for the tournament, and quite often you find that when you have one player struggling in the team with their stats, then the next person will also be struggling due to the misses of the previous player. It quite often makes the shots just that much harder for the person who has to come on after them and try and tidy things up. Over here on sheet B, Japan leading Germany by 2 shots to 0. That's Imogen Ona Lehmann holding the brush here for the great Andrea Schoep. And throwing the shot that she loves, the big weight takeout, and there's definitely a chance for a multiple score here. How does it look? Bangs it on the nose. Can they squeeze that through enough? Good enough for 2. Super shot there by Andrea. And it's going to be a tie game after 3 ends there. Germany 2-1, Japan 3-0. And actually probably the biggest game in this 5th draw, Germany and Japan. Germany really will want to win that game. You would expect Germany to be in the playoffs, but it's all about trying to get to that 1-2 game to give yourself 2 opportunities to get to the Olympic Games in Sochi in 2014. Back in our featured game, here's Betty eyeing up this run double. Some really good guards thrown by the Latvians. Perfectly in line once again. Yin Liu playing 82% for the week at 3rd. Great shooting by the Chinese 3rd. Makes the run back here. She is just an unbelievable shot maker.
That was a very, very nice shot.
No real reaction from Yin Liu ever. Just absolutely dominant shot making.
Nerves of steel.
Yep. So that guard as well just rolls off the center line a little bit. Stas Sarsuna can still come around and try and put a little bit of pressure on Betty.
Eva Sarsuna throwing a 66% tournament accuracy. Delivering her first stone, trying to come around, center corner guard, trying to put some pressure onto the Chinese team for their last stones. Okay, so just after the T line, but almost perfectly in line behind the yellow guard. That would have come in and stopped before the T line. You could almost say that was a perfect shot.
14秒55秒，这块好滑呀！这是你们投过吗？这没投过是吗？但是这看他们投那也挺滑，是挺滑，是一样的力量不降速呢，还是稍微小点劲呢？一样力量不用降速，感觉也差不多。
Well, it just looks like a dead freeze here for Betty, playing 79% for the tournament. Betty, much like myself, I think, when she gets to the hack and gets a different look at the shot, she often changes the ice. I don't think I've ever thrown a skip stone without changing the ice from the hack. So we'll see how this works out. Needs to get down there to it. We said before that when you're throwing a freeze, really important to get at least down there to the live shot stone. And what's happened here? Big mistake here by the Chinese skip. Leaves a guard. And if Latvia could ever make a good draw in here, then it'd be really, really tough for Betty to get in to score.
This needs a very good draw shot from Iveta. Just to come around these guards.
Yeah, and this is absolutely not the kind of shot that you want to leave Iveta. There's no real pressure on this shot. You're already in good shape. You're going to force as a bare minimum. And you're also giving her her favourite in-turn draw. And just somewhere just over the centre line, I think. Just crossing the centre line, top of the forefoot would really put a lot of heat on Betty. Must be in front of the T-line here.
Absolutely must.
Well, it doesn't look too far away, Roberts.
Looks pretty good.
Oh, wow, how good's that? Perfect draw from Stasys Sarsunet. And Betty's going to be left a cold draw here to the button to score in this fourth end. Super shot there by Stasys Sarsunet.
That's very good. Probably could have left it a little bit closer to the center line to leave even less of a scoring position for Betty Wang, but still very, very good.
Well, I didn't want to tell you this before the game, Roberts, but Iveta's stats have got lower every single game. Started at 76 and it's got lower every game since then. So important for her to get off to a good start today, and that's two terrific draws there. So Chinese sweepers need to do a good job with this one. Needs it to get down onto the 1 foot. Looking pretty good. They can rub off this redstone too. Super draw.
Super draw, yes.
Really good sweep in there by the Chinese, and drags that one down onto the button. And sure, Betty's got to be pretty happy with that one, really, after a really poor draw with her first stone. After 4 ends, tie game, Latvia 2, China 2. Well, the BLZ Arena dresses up nice. And we've got a very interesting game on our hands here in Women's Draw 5. Latvia and China trading singles for the first 4 ends here. Some super draw play by Bing Wang. And we did expect a bit of a gap in the levels of experience and quality in these two teams, but we're not seeing it so far, are we, Roberts?
No, we're not. Both teams are playing relatively equally. They have met before already, so they know each other a little bit. In the 2013 World Championships, they have played against each other, so they've also met in some tournaments in Canada. So I think they know what to expect from each other.
Absolutely, and again, this tactic worked well for Latvia in the third end. Very much looked like they were going to have a multiple score for most of the end due to this stone, so sticking with that tactic. Oh, and look.
Looks like China had learned their lesson from the previous end.
Well, you would love to see them play the draw and go round again, but I think Betty full well knows that this got them into a lot of trouble the last time, so I think, again, it's about knowing your opposition, Roberts, and knowing that the Latvian teams aren't a great takeout team. You know you're a stronger takeout team than your opposite numbers, and if you can make the hit and sticks, you're probably expecting to get a hit and roll out from the Latvians at some stage, and then you can go around the centre guard and punish them for it.
Yeah, play a little bit to the opponent's mistakes.
So, Una, Germany, here to match the stones. This has got a lot of curling to do just to make contact. Well, does enough, chips it out, and China get the miss they were looking for.
As you rightly predicted, here come around around the center guard.
Yeah, and now there's far less risk for the Chinese. They don't have to worry about that stone on the wing. And already looking in a much better position than they were 2 ends ago. Oh, certainly not troubling the guard at the moment. Well, passes the guard by about 2.5 feet. See just how much curl there is at the end, and actually covers an inside edge there. Roberts, yesterday the Latvians ran a little bit tight for time against the Japanese. Do you think that'll have been a discussion going into this game?
Oh, I'm sure it will have been a discussion going into this game, so they don't find themselves in the same position again, because I think it was a big factor in the mistakes that were made towards the end of the game. That it was under pressure. They kept looking at the clock more than they were actually looking at the field of play at some points, it looked. So. Yeah, but it was true for both teams.
Well, absolutely. It was absolutely fascinating stuff at the end of the game. Not the highest standard of game we'll see all week, but it really was entertaining stuff, going back and forth. You never knew who was going to win the game until the very last stone. So
literally the very, very last stone.
Absolutely, and it looks like we've got another tight one on our hands here in draw 5. Here's UN, needs to stick around. So, well,
not the greatest 2 shots.
Well, this could well be a case of Latvia playing to their strengths, but if they want to blank the end, which is what the draw to the wing shot would suggest, then the call is to try and peel the guard, which is what they've changed their mind to. The only thing I would say about this is drawing to the wing might be playing to their strengths a little bit more than going for these peels. Looking pretty good here though, Sanda Bikše. And this is good from the Latvians. They'll be more than happy to blank this 5th end, get into half-time, tied game, and then have a little go in the 6th end and the even ends. Always so important to try and get the hammer in the even ends so you can have that last stone advantage up 10.
2、3都行，站位就行。
下线擦一擦。
3、2、3。3。
这水平球没停，先撤，能到吗？成人没擦完，五人一个我整个撤。
China putting up a very good center guard. And Latvia again going for the peel. Trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it simple.
Oh, you have a Crystal making a mistake here.
Yeah, just over curling on her a little bit and leaving up a center guard for China to come around.
So while Yin Liu tries for this out-turn draw, here is Ayumi Ogasawara, the Japanese skip. The 2002 and 2006 Olympian. Trying to get back there for a third time and off to a great start this week on 3-0. So how does this one look? Needs to cut the forefoot to score 2. Perfect weight. Will it curl enough? Will not. Just a couple of inches too wide. Great attempt there by the Japanese, and Funuyama just indicating it's a score of 1 in this 4th end. Still all smiles from Ogasawara. And after 4 ends, it's Japan 3, Germany 2. Back in our featured game, a good effort at the come around by Yin Liu. And somehow squeezes the shooter into the rings.
Just rotated back in.
So from China's perspective here, I don't think they'll be too willing to ignore that stone and throw a guard. They know that if they can play a hit and roll in and force Latvia to score 1 here in the 5th end, that they'll have the last stone in the 6th end. So we've seen a lot of draw shots from Betty today. Not seen too many takeouts. Oh, that just looked like it jumped on him a little bit. Rolls it right alongside, so maybe Latvia can spill both of these yellow stones now and get the chance to blank here.
Yep.
Well, they're probably trying to hit between those 2 yellow stones. They're reasonably level, so it'd be really difficult to double them by hitting the outside of the stones. Taking quite a lot of ice here. Well, this needs to get right over the center line. How's it looking? Well,
not quite.
Well, actually, that's finished in a pretty bad spot as well for Latvia. If Betty can ever come down right onto the nose of this red stone, then Latvia can play a takeout to score on it. Let's just see, it just doesn't quite get over the centre line quick enough to hit that left stone first as required. And with that stone at the front of the forefoot, as you see it there, Betty nose hits it, then Latvia won't be able to nose hit it back, and and scored the shot here in the 5th end. So
it will leave quite a difficult draw under pressure.
oh, absolutely, it could leave
one.
It could well leave a draw to the forefoot, or they could try and hit the back one, but it's a much more difficult shot than just following this takeout. Well, perfect shot there by Bing Yuang, and now not a lot of room for error here for Stasys Arsuna. Needs to try and get, at the very worst, the nose, and maybe even just a little check over towards the forefoot circle.
Yeah, I think she needs to come into the red of the house. Still the Latvian team, even the Stasys Arsuna with the last stone of the 5th end before the mid-game break. Looking for a score of 1 against 2 Chinese stones.
Oh, super shot from Stasys Arsuna, bangs it right on the nose. And Latvia hanging tough with China. 5 ends played here, and it's Latvia 3, China 2. So here's the highlights from the first half of the game. After a super draw by Bing Yuang, forces the mistake from Stasys Arsuna and just has to lay the same draw again. Big effort here from Yan Zhou and Jingshuang Yue. Yin Liu joining the action, but they can't get it quite far enough, and heartbreakingly comes up just a few inches short of the deuce. So that would tie the game up after 2 ends, and then the 3rd end. Here's Stasys Arsuna after 2 terrific draws from Bing Yuang. Needs to make a hit and stick on the button to score. And no signs of yesterday's nerves so far from Stasys Arsuna. Takes a 1-shot lead over the 2009 world champs. Then really the shot of the game so far, Bing Yuang with a tough draw to prevent the steal. Facing 2 stones, fully in the forefoot, needed to cut the 1 foot. And Yan Zhou and Jingshuang Yue, super job right onto the white bit. And after 5 ends, Latvia 3, China 2. Elsewhere on the ice here in draw 5, Germany trailing Japan by 3 shots to 2 in the 5th end. Germany have the last stone, and Norway leading Italy by 3 shots to 2 with the last stone in the 6th end.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Opposite.
Okay.
Almost a little light.
No, it has a good
Zero.
rhythm. Nice.
Kaut kāds +3.
Jā.
Jā. Okay.
Давай, я aiziet.
Ja?
Aiziet!
So you're in a no control game. You have 5 ends. Win the second 5, you're okay. Play smart. Remember even ends. Okay, even ends. You got them right now. So if you can get your 2 right here, then in the house with the 7. That's her first one on the 7. They're gonna have to either play the hit and run it, or they'll take their chance on 7, which gives you the even ends and it gives you an extra hammer. Okay.
所以现在前5局呢，它比分比较接近，后5个。
If you get your 2 here and you run up, go into the range with your 7. If they hit it, then you can put, then you can play the your 1 up, right?
Yeah. 就是1 up.
So there's the stats. Latvia being outplayed on the percentages by China, but Latvia making the key shots so far, Roberts.
Yes, very much so. Well, you can see the draw statistic for Latvia is actually even a little bit better than for China. So as long as they keep making the key shots, these percentage statistics are not that important.
Oh, absolutely, and I think one of the most important stats there for the Latvians was the stolen point section. If they can keep that stolen point section to 0, they're going to hang right in there with this Chinese team right to the death. So just trading singles for the first half of the game, and this is Una Germany throwing lead stones for Latvia. This is the World Curling Federation Olympic Qualification 2013. Draw 5 of the women's event. 7 teams going at it for 2 spots at the Olympics in February. And our featured game, Latvia and China, very close and very interesting so far. My name's Logan Gray, and alongside me, Robert Biersnicks. And the chat in between the 5th and 6th end from the Latvians, Robert, seemed to be more of the same.
Yes, more of the same. Just keep calm, not break down for the last ends. Keep playing their game, not be too worried about the opponent, and just keep doing more of the same.
Yeah, and I think actually it was almost the same conversation from Marcel Rock, the 3-time world champion coaching this Chinese team. He was sort of saying, well, you know what, we're actually in pretty good shape here. We're trailing by 1, but we've got the last stone in the 6th end. If we can score in the even ends, he was really pushing that you need to score in the even ends, then there's only 5 ends remaining. So you would have the hammer in 3 of the ends to their 2. So a big advantage from that point of view for the Chinese. You know, Germany playing 78% for the game. So expect to see the Chinese really push hard for a score here in the 6th end. I think it's a bit going for your deuce here in 6, but at the same time you want to make sure that you keep things open, you don't give up a steal here. Well, that's a big mistake there from Una Germany. We've seen her have exemplary weight control all game, but that one just overthrown.
I just deserted her on this shot.
Yeah, we've said a few times this week, just the lead's getting a little bit caught out in the 6th end break. It can tend to just be a little bit faster ice conditions in the 6th end. Yan Zhou playing 85% for the game. Yeah, just with that 5 minutes in between the 5th and the 6th end, the ice temperature can just cool a little bit, and the ice conditions just get a little bit slicker. So here's Yan Zhou with another super draw around the center guard. Oh, this is a tough shot that Stasis Arsun has called here. I think I would prefer to see her come down the other side and just try and bump these yellow stones around a little bit. Sander Bikshe could play an absolute perfect shot here, and there'll still just be a short raise for China.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that this is a much riskier option that they're trying to take.
I think it's just a slightly inexperienced call, Roberts. It's calling a shot that's very, very difficult for very little reward. And there you see it, she actually doesn't get that far away from the called shot. But now China have a hit to lie 3. Whereas if they come down the other side to try and play a tap on the 2 yellow stones, they can put their red stone in a position that's actually really difficult to remove.
Yeah.
Well, the 4-foot circle looks absolutely rammed here on sheet B. There's barely an inch to be had in there. And Andrea Schopp, once again, giving it the big heave. Trying to smash some yellow granite. And I can tell you, imagine Ona Lehmann's kind of sitting up, obviously a little bit wide here. And oh my, disaster for Andrea Schopp. That is not what the doctor ordered. And after 5 ends, Japan, the perfect Japan, 3-0. Now leading Germany 2-1 by 6 shots to 2. And the sponsors are loving that 5th end. A real boost for their team going into the halftime break. Sandy Bikshe playing 68% after a nice takeout there by Qingxuan Yue to lie 3 for China. Cannot touch the guard here. Oof, oof. Well, that one really dived on them. Does enough to remove one of those yellow stones, but China in great shape here in this 6th end. Dicing with death there. I don't think he could have fitted a piece of paper in between the running stone and the guard there.
I don't think it would have fit, no.
Qingxuan Yue having a good game, playing 85%.
Executing her shot perfectly, but I think leaving a chance for a double for Latvia.
Yeah, and China not having to do anything exceptional here in the 6th end. They're just doing the simple things well, and if they can continue to do that, then it's difficult to see how China wouldn't have a multiple score here. Krista playing 75%. Can she make a double in the wing here? And go with that red and sweep it behind the center guard. Super shot there by Eva Krista.
Yeah, very good. Only way to it could have been made better was to get the redstone behind the center guard. But there seemed to be some little bit of confusion on the ice.
I think they were more than happy just to see the 2 yellow stones go away there, Roberts.
Yes, they were concentrating more on them than their rock.
So Yin Liu only playing 68% today. Quite uncharacteristic from the Chinese 3rd. Arguably the best shot maker in the whole competition, just makes a whole bunch of shots. Well, again, good hit and roll. Gets great separation between these 2 yellow stones. So I don't think we'll be seeing a double takeout this time from Eva.
No, this will be just a single with hopefully a roll to the center, which she doesn't get. Ooh.
So a couple of options here. China could just draw one out to the wing where they were before. But choosing to go around the center guard here. And if they can get one down kind of to the top of the 4-foot circle, they could have the option to go around the center guard again with their skip's first stone. Maybe even set up a score of 3.
Yes, China seems to be determined for a multiple score in this end, which only makes sense.
先后，用后擦吗？不用，我们还怕那边双飞。
Well, needed to stay in front of the T line. And there could well be a double takeout possibility here for Latvia. Yen Liu just not looking like a morning person in the moment.
So it looks like Iveta will attempt to go for the double or at least roll into the behind the center guard.
So an important shot. They could go after the double takeout, but really important to lie shot really after this stone.
Yeah, the shooting rock really needs to stick around and be the shot rock after this.
Stassi Sarsuna playing 68%, but really making a lot of clutch shots so far. Oh, this one's just going to hit on the nose. Doesn't lie shot stone, but does enough really to have a bit of nuisance value. Kind of keeps the scoring area reasonably small for China. So options here, China could play the draw around on the out turn as they just played it, or make the takeout here on the wing to lie two, and it does look like a straightforward deuce if they were to do that.
这球是不是打定打往外甩都行啊？嗯，打往外甩，反正我不太想打定，因为他刚打完一个这个球，我给他换一个顶啊，然后完了看看给他，换个不让他打那个什么。
Wang going for the takeout. Game accuracy of 80%, so good stats.
I don't think Betty wants this one swept. Can't afford to roll out the rings. That actually makes a pretty perfect roll there. So the question is, do you hit the wide stone and just give up two? Or do you try something a little bit riskier around the centre guard?
David is saying that the objective is not to give up three, just limit it to two.
Very wise words from Iveta. Now they would still only be trailing by one.
Yeah, giving up two will leave them with the hammer in the next end, and a chance to go after their own deuce.
Well, one thing's for sure here, Latvia will want to make a hit and stick. You know, if they can just roll into the 8-foot circle, it would force, well, not force China to play a takeout, but it certainly makes it an option at least. Well, a really nice hit and roll there by Stassi Sarsuna and Bing Wang. So just the same takeout really for Bing Wang, might just take a fraction less ice. Use the sweepers a bit more than the last one. Just a controlled weight and just needs to stick in the 12-foot to score two. Final stone here in the 6th end, and coach Marcel Rock said make sure you score in those even ends. Make the hammer pay for China. And it's going to be a score of 2. The only 2 stones in the paint here in the 6th end. And China, for the first time, move ahead in this 5th round matchup, now leading Latvia by 4 shots to 3.
但我感觉点也稍微小了一点，基本上这边能等下来一点，完了再下去，不行，都得赛一点，但是挪挪点就行。然后那边那个就是赛的太猛了，不下去。
So we're going to get an update from Sheet C just next door, Norway and Italy. Must-win game for both teams to stay in contention. Both of them currently on 3 losses. Norway 1-3, Italy 0-3. And this is Marianne Roervik trying to hit for 4. Does enough to score 3. A biter there just on the back rank. And Norway looking good. 6 ends played, leading Italy by 6 shots to 2. And back in our featured game, score of 2 in the 6th end, giving China the lead for the first time in this game. And we said, well, we heard Marcel Rock say at halftime, if you go out there and make your 2 in the 6th end, then go for top 4. Not too sure about that decision, Roberts. I think throwing it into the rings, a lot of teams would just hit you and try and blank the 7th end and take the hammer into the 8th end. So you've only got 3 ends to come and you put the hammer twice.
Possibly could have been a better choice of tactic than putting up a corner guard, but...
Well, anyway, Latvia are going to push hard and try and get their deuce back here in 7th.
Yeah, maybe they'll just try to be a little more aggressive and go for their own deuce, and oh, here they are clearing the stone on the top 4. Good.
Oh, Una German trying to make a takeout on this front stone, and it has got a long way to curl here. Well, it does enough to chip it to the side and at least opens up the center line, but the problem really is that she's not kept a shooter, and when you're chasing the game and trying to score a deuce, then you have to keep your stones in play.
Yeah, that's very, very important.
Well, this is a interesting decision here from Bing Yuang, choosing to try and throw a guard here with that stone back of the tee line. He could just peel the corner guard here, but that might just play into the Latvians' hands a little bit as they tried to blank here in 7. Well, Ching Shuang Yue just a little bit heavy there. Now one dressed right down onto the tee line. So Latvia won't like those 2 yellow stones in the 4-foot circle. They're going to try and get rid of them and then quickly try and get the play going behind that corner guard.
German and the other crews to very hard at it to keep it online. Okay, so half of the objective fulfilled. Still not the greatest situation to be in currently.
Yeah, but actually squeezed that yellow over to quite a good position. If Latvia ever had to play or ever wanted to play a draw around that stone in the 12-foot circle in front of the tee line, then they put something to freeze on around there. China need to make a hit and stick here. A good shot there by Qing Shuangyue. Well, Santa Beakshay looks pretty close to making a hit and roll here. Well, just doesn't quite hit enough off the center of the stone, and China again going to try and set and lie 3. China maybe starting to look a little bit more dominant here, Roberts.
Yes, we're leaving the easier shots for them. Not getting the hidden rolls and not forcing them into difficult shots that we should be forcing them into to have a chance of winning this game and staying in it. Because I don't think it's very smart to be hopeful that China will miss an open stone in the middle of the house.
Well, Latvia seem quite content to just keep the centre of play open here. I think the mistake they really made was the very first stone at the end was choosing not to play a takeout on that stone. It went into the rings from China. You really don't need to push here in the 7th end to score. I would be certainly more than happy to go 1 down with the hammer into the 8th end. But I guess one of the things, again, that we've mentioned this so many times, Roberts, that China know is, I mean, how good are Latvia going to be at trying to peel for one whole end? What's the chances of them actually being able to do that and then coming down to the last stone, making that hit and roll out to keep the last stone advantage? So maybe some smart strategy from China. Here's Andrea Schopp already trailing by 4, and I can tell you they were in great shape to score possibly even 3 in this 6th end. But Japanese skip Ogasawara made an absolutely unbelievable freeze that you're about to see on the tee line, right in between 2 red stones, and Andrea just been left to draw the 4-foot for 1. Hayes and Muskatevich have got that one under control, but look at that freeze, that Yellowstone on the tee line right between those 2 reds. That was a shot Ayumi Ogasawara just played. And forces the 1. So after 6 ends, it's going to be Japan 6, Germany 3. A better attempt here on the hit and roll from Germany, at least. Makes this a little bit more difficult for China. And again, as we mentioned earlier in the end, that Yellowstone behind the tee line could just have a little bit of nuisance factor for China. We're going to have to try and get pretty close to the nose not to jam it up.
Yes, this hit and roll by the Latvian team was much better than before. This is asking questions of the Chinese team and forcing them to more difficult shots.
over curls by a long, long way, but does enough to squeeze it out. However, now a chance to come around that corner guard finally for Latvia. Not in love with this call, Roberts. I think you play the takeout on the wing there and give yourself a chance to blank here in 7.
Yeah, I think I agree with you more than Iveta in this case. That they should have just gone for the blank,
This is
zeros, and keep the hammer.
I think with some of the more experienced, the less experienced skips, it's not so much about calling the tactics, calling the exact shots from one to another. It's the overall strategy and knowing what you're trying to achieve in the end. And here in the 7th end, you're trailing by 1. You need to know that blanking here in the 7th end is an acceptable option for you then to take the last stone into the 8th. And then going into the 8th end, you've got the hammer in 8 and 10. You've got the last stone twice in comparison to China's just once. So they don't need to take this risk and try and make the freeze. And it could well lead to a blank anyway by throwing the freeze. I prefer this call to going around the corner guard, but it's just knowing what's an acceptable outcome from the end.
As you rightly pointed out previously, that freeze is a very difficult shot to make, and it needs to be perfect if you're going for a freeze. And in this case, not exactly perfect.
So that freeze bounces off, and now with a nose hit from Bing Yuang, it's going to be a force here in the 7th end. Absolutely not what Latvia wanted to happen. They just pushed a little bit too hard here to try and score 2. Immediately down with the brushes here. And I can tell you, Roberts, this is curling a long way. Can they hold it to lie 2? Oh, they have done. Great swooping there. And now Latvia are going to be left to draw for 1.
I got good separation on the stones, not leaving a chance for a double and for a blank end.
这俩球，就一个个把个绕上这儿来了。
Te kur atspiesties? Pilnu maltajā! Jā! Varbūt bišķi platāk. Platāk, Nīvēt saka bišķi. Tīra labi, ja te pa vidu kaut kā sociņu. Jā. 8 uz 5? Jā. Tas ir cik? Bez birstēšanas. Bez birstēšanas tā ir kaut kā 5. 6.
Okay, so the skip of the Latvian team gave it to Stasha Šaršūne with the last shot of the 7th end.
Yeah, this is one of the easier shots that Iveta's had to play today. Just needs to be fully in the 8 foots to score here. And the sweepers are, they're all out there, all 3 of them over the stone, but
I think that was just some short-term panic.
Panic is exactly the word I would use there. But look at that, right onto the tee line, and Stasys Arsenal showing her drawing quality once again and tying the game up after 7 ends. Latvia 4, China 4.
Krist tādā panikā.
Well, Latvia are doing a good job of not giving up any steals and keeping it a tight game here with China. China started to look a little bit stronger here in the second half. So Marcel Rogg, the Chinese coach, said to his skip that he wanted her to make sure she scores on the even ends, and that's what they're doing here at the moment. Scoring 2 in the 6th end, really giving them the advantage in this game. I think Latvia could have gone for top 4 there. Again, this is down to the strategy of trying to score in even ends. They could have thrown top 4 there, and China were always going to throw the corner guard in this end to try and score 2.
Yeah, China will try to be aggressive and try to end the game as fast as they can. I'm quite sure that they're well aware of the fact that Latvia has had some troubles seeing out games previously. Just the last couple of ends.
So there's the matchup at lead. Germanic only 58% on hits, but Yanzhou not perfect either on 67. The Chinese lead just slightly outplaying the Latvian. Well, I think, Roberts, this is the time in the game the experienced skips really show their quality. So in the second half of the game, it's on the scoreboard, and the strategy, as we've talked about in the last end, of knowing how to control the scoreboard and how to put yourself in that position to give yourself the best possibility of winning come the 10th end.
Yeah, just like I said, it's the problem of seeing out games, and that's the hardest part.
Well, here's Veronica Zappone. She's not really had the opportunity to see out any games this week. Not really been ahead on the scoreboard too many times this week. It's been pretty miserable so far for the junior team. And it's a steep learning curve for this Italians side. Drawing against probably 4 red Norwegian counters, and the sweepers are just going to get that one far enough. Gets a piece of the 8-foot circle, and it's a score of 1 for the Italians. Nice draw there by Zappone. However, they're still trailing Norway by 6 shots to 3.
Yep, yeah.
So actually, a blank end again wouldn't be a bad result here for the Latvians.
No, but I don't think the Chinese team will agree with that.
Well, that's a super hit and roll.
Superb.
From Zander Bikshe. Rolls directly in front of that red stone on the button.
Yeah.
Bikshe being quite clearly outplayed that second by Ching Shuang Yue. Super play by the Chinese second. Said at the start of this draw 5 that Ching Shuang Yue hadn't been at her absolute best so far this week, but really starting to raise her game as we come into the business end of the week. Needs to make a hit and stick here. It's got a lot of curling to do. Well, I think I jinxed her there. That one rolls right out into the dead zone there. Well, I can tell you, certainly a men's team, I think, would probably peel the corner guard here and just try and blank here in the 8th end if they were Latvia.
Well, actually, from the chatter from the team, I could understand that was Iveta's original call, but the team convinced her otherwise, that they should play center guard.
Okay. So we'll see how it works out anyway. They've got a stone in a stealing position, and if they could ever steal here in the 8th end, that would be a better result, there's no question, than just blanking. And they don't make the guard. That red stone is going to be seen from the hack.
这在7局还能下几点，一样。
So Ching Chuan Yue just a little bit wayward with her first attempt here in this 8th end.
Better with her second attempt. Third of the Latvian team, Ieva Krusta, will attempt to remove this yellow stone from the 4-foot circle. Draw behind the center guard.
Well, needs to make contact here.
Just barely.
Doesn't have to get it out the rings anyway. Now, China going to go after this deuce here. Trying to use that corner guard delayed with the lead stones. Pretty tight matchup at third. Ieva Krusta hanging with Yin Liu. Yin Liu not been at her best today, just missed a couple of key draws. And as you said at half-time, Roberts, Latvia are really drawing well in this 5th round encounter.
Yeah, you can see with the comparison between the third players that Ieva Krusta has 100% draw shots, while Yin Liu has 100% takeout shots. So.
Well, that looks pretty well buried. And I don't think Latvia will be able to play a takeout on that yellow stone. There we see there will not be a lot of granite seen from the hack around that guard.
So just attempt to freeze it and cut it out.
Well, again, this is a tough shot here, Roberts.
Very tough.
They could choose to come around the center guard, and that would maybe apply more pressure to the Chinese.
So not really reaching the objectives they wanted to reach with this shot. Just bouncing off the yellow stone, moving back into the middle.
It was a tough shot there for Krusta. Don't think she'll be 100% on draws anymore after that one. And if China could ever make a hit and roll underneath that yellow corner guard, then there could be a chance to score 3 in this 8th. Control weight here for Yin Liu. Needs to make the hit and stick here. Oh, has she made the roll? She has not. So, if Latvia don't want to concede a multiple score here in this 8th end, then they need to try and find the cover.
Yeah, it's imperative that they hide behind the center guard. They get the roll to the outside. Again, just to try to put some pressure onto this experienced Chinese team.
Uz kuru pusi tu domā? Uz centru rulēt?
Nu, jā, jā. 10. Jā.
Well, this is a crucial shot here for Latvia. Trying to make this hit and roll underneath the guards. this is over curling by a lot. Oh my.
Oh my.
That's the first really bad mistake we've seen from Latvia. Iveta Stasas Arsuna, no idea what happened to that, but it wasn't even close to where they wanted to lay it.
No, that went very, very badly.
Stasas Arsuna getting outplayed at skip stones, 70 to 82. Bing Wang's played some real key shots in this game. So Stasas Arsuna, but how key could that miss be from the Latvian skip here in the 8th end?
It could make or break the game. 'Cause if China get a triple in this end, with 2 ends to go, and a hammer for China in the 10th, will be very, very difficult.
Well, interested to see them playing the draw between these 2 red stones. I would have thought that's a little bit risky, but finds a good spot.
Executed very, very nicely.
So actually, well, I hate to say this on the air, Roberts, but if there's a male skip playing, say a Kevin Martin, for example, and you leave the 3 yellow stones sitting like that reasonably close together, you could actually hit that wide yellow on the right-hand side of your picture, hit it kind of a thin half, come onto the yellow stone on the tee line, and run all the way across, and maybe remove all 3 yellow stones here. Don't need to worry about that so much in the women's game.
Yeah, the Hollywood shots are not quite as often an occurrence in the women's game.
Yeah, and especially with the quality of the ice conditions and the stones here at the BLZ Arena. Just so much spring when the stones contact it. That's definitely a possibility here, but maybe not so much for Stasas Arsuna. With all due respect, you probably can't throw it hard enough to make that shot. So it's going to be a takeout attempt once again here for Stasas Arsuna, trying to make this hit and roll on the yellow. And she doesn't want it swept. Needs to roll behind the center cover. Well, that's not going to roll far enough, and it's going to be an open takeout here for a triple for China here.
It's again the same thing we've been struggling with the whole week. Team Latvia, with that leaving the easier shots for the opposition skips. This is a very good case in point.
So final stone of the 8th end. Bing Wang just needs to make a hit and stick to score 3. And looks good. This one's going to hang around, and it's going to be a score of 3 for China in the 8th end. And Latvians' Olympic dreams hanging by a thread here. 8 ends played here, and it's China 7, Latvia 4.
这局咱们先2个都金赢，然后完了跟他们打一打，就他们击打的话，或者他们投的能力都不是很强。
the BLZ Arena here in Füssen, Germany. Draw 5 of the women's qualification for the Olympics 2014. And the 2009 world champions, China, skipped by Betty Wang, move into a commanding lead here after 8 ends, dominating the scoreboard in the second half of this game. And there really hasn't been that much between the teams, has there, Roberts?
No, the game has looked quite equal, but as we've spoken, just the smallest of differences that have swung the game in the favor of the Chinese team. Maybe some tactical decisions, 1 or 2 mistakes, and they are professional enough and good enough to take full advantage of them. And if you make one small mistake, it ends up as a big mistake on the scoreboard, as the deuce and the triple show.
Well, absolutely, Roberts. I think that's been the big difference. I mean, China have made a few more shots than the Latvians, but the big difference for me is the strategy in the second half of the game, knowing how to control the scoreboard, and that's exactly what the Chinese have done. And it's shown on the scoreboard with that score of 2 in the 6th and the score of 3 in the 8th. Latvia could have done things just slightly differently. So anyway, over on sheet C, here's Norway and Italy, both on 3 losses. And a 4th loss would be absolutely fatal for either of these teams. Somebody's got to win, however, and it's looking like it could well be Norway, leading by 6 shots to 3. And here's Mariana Rurvik, just trying to draw one into the forefoot to score. You see that couple of yellows in behind the corner guard. That's a super draw. Finds the T-line. And Norway looking good for that crucial victory to keep their Olympic hopes alive. Now leading Italy by 7 shots to 3 after 8 ends. Back in our featured game, the Latvians just having a ponder over this one. Got the corner guard on. Not too bad a position, maybe a little bit long and wide.
They're looking for a way to score at least a deuce, because a single point will not do them any good whatsoever. So, need to find a way to force.
Absolutely agree, Roberts. Absolutely agree. They need to really take a lot of risk here. They have called a timeout. This is Carrie Wilms, the Latvian coach, coming down to impart her wisdom on the team. And I think what you said, Roberts, is absolutely key, is that they need to take a lot of risk here in the 9th end. Scoring 1 is just not enough here. They need to get it. They need to do something to make sure they generate a multiple score here as a minimum here in the end.
Yeah, because 1 point will just bring the game to a close, more or less, because not having the hammer in the last end and trailing by 2 points.
Well, we'll try and listen in on the conversation here.
On the same side or the other side?
You need to, and then at some point we need to start getting
of course,
freezes
in
as well.
But do you think that to this side, or
I think we should go over there. It's trickier over there. So play where it's a little trickier.
Yep.
All right, you guys?
Okay. I see.
So Roberts, talk me through the options.
Well, I think the coach and the team agreed that they should be playing aggressively and going to the sides of the rings. Try to put some stones in play. Worry about the Chinese stones in the middle. Later on in the end, start clearing them out. Not panic right now.
Yeah, well, this is the first time we've really seen Latvia have to make a move with the last stone. They've been quite content to play defensively with the hammer, but they really need to try and generate a deuce as a minimum here in this 9th end. And choosing to throw another corner guard, I think that's a good call at this point.
Yeah, it's a good call because it's an aggressive call. It's forcing, with the free guard rule, it's forcing China to look at these guards and maybe leave one of them will stay, and we have another guard to hide behind. So.
Well, Betty Wang's not going to muck about too much. They've got 2 good stones in the house here, but they're not interested in guarding. They're already leading by 3, and that would just be unnecessary risk. Qingshuang Yu going for the peel here, and actually makes that an even better corner guard than it was before. That's
yeah,
really
the one before was a little bit too far to the side. This is in a much better position. It looks like even no.
Well, actually, I think it would be really good for them to go around the red guard here and try and force China to peel that one. And then they can maybe get a couple in behind the better corner guard.
Actually, I think they're going for the takeout of this stone on the central line and rolling it in behind the yellow guard.
Well, absolutely must make a hit stick here.
The shooting rock needs to stay in the rings.
Oh, terrific shot here by Sanda Bikshe.
Very good.
Overrolls the corner guard, but the more important thing there was to get away from the center line and keep her stone in play as well. Well, I'm not too sure that China want to stick around here in the wing. Just could be a little bit of a nuisance over there. Sheet B, 2 teams in pretty good shape at the moment to qualify for the playoff stages. Japan on 3-0 and leading by 3 shots here with the final stone in the 7th end. Had a chance here for Japan to really put this game beyond doubt. Ogasawara just needs to draw the forfeit to score 3 actually, but it drifts right through. Actually probably trying to play a hit and roll off their own yellow. Still good enough to score 2 though. And after 7 ends, Japan 8, Germany 3. So what have we got here? Back in our featured game, Bikshe over curls and chips the guard. Still rolls to another guard, but I absolutely think that China should be peeling the guards here. This is a great chance for them to take a corner guard off. There's the Chinese bench, Marcel Rock, on the center of your screen there. I think he'll be pretty happy with the second half of this game. They're executing exactly as he instructed them at halftime. Said, make sure you score in the 6th end. And they got the deuce there. Then again in the 8th end, putting the 3 up on the board to blow this game wide open. We've seen Yin Liu struggling a little bit with her draw weight in this game, but she couldn't have placed that one too much better, that's for sure.
Yeah, she found it towards the second part of the game, definitely.
Well, it was a little bit of a risk there from the Chinese, playing the draw around. That red guard's so tight to the rings that Latvia could split it, which is exactly what they're trying to do, and open up the 2 stones in the forefeit, get a couple of red stones in there.
Yeah, Latvia really needs to get some stones into at least close to scoring positions.
Well, just didn't really give that a chance. Too much weight. And probably not enough ice either. Need to hit that one thinner and softer.
It looks like sounded like the sweepers agreed with you. There was quite a good bit too heavy.
So here's Lin Yu. Yin Liu even trying to throw a center guard on her perfect drop.
Sweepers working hard to get it in line. It's a very good center guard.
前面刚开始还是有点太飘了。你这个球，我是真不敢下线场，我就觉得他后程。Devini vai desce. Devini. Devini. Yeah.
So Roberts, translate.
Oh, they're just discussing about the weight of the shot, how quick it should be.
Well, it looks like they're trying to go around the center guard and make a play on these stones in the forefoot. Playing a lot of weight here. Really couldn't have got too much tighter to the guard there and still rolls away. And we talked about taking risk. They need to be willing to leave the yellow stones around and try and push them back at the tee line. And throwing away like that, they really couldn't have got too much closer to the guard there. Hits a half stone and rolls right out of the rings.
I agree that maybe they should try play with a little less weight, so the shooting rocks actually stick around the house. And if they stick around the house, there is a chance of them scoring points. If they're outside of the house, there is no chance of them scoring. So,
well, if we just go back a few shots, Roberts, the real mistake in this end came with Sanda Bikshe. She had a great opportunity to come around the corner guard, just leaving one stone in the forefoot circle, and aired on the wrong side, over curled, chipped the guard and rolled to the center, and that really was the Latvians' undoing here in this ninth end.
It was a very crucial mistake. The center guard was the last thing the Latvian team needed.
So we're going to see Betty just throw another one into the rings, just to try and stop Latvia making a play on that stone in the button and rolling behind the cover. So a good look at the benches sitting right at the end of the ice. Oh. Just a bit of a false start there from Betty. Just wanted to clarify one more thing before she played this shot. Well, just comes up at the top of the forefoot. And Latvia with a lot of work to do here if they want to score two. Just two Latvian stones to come here in this ninth end.
I think a multiple score will be very, very difficult in this end. Well, I would say that they need to cut the weight here and try and get to the inside of that Yellowstone. I don't think there's any value in just playing the double takeout, because you're not going to be able to score two that way. And we said at the start of the end it's not an acceptable result to only score one here. So they really need to cut the weight, get as tight to that yellow guard as possible, and try and make the check under the cover.
Jā, pēc 10. Jā, es jau apskatījos.
Well, for me, the goal in this shot has to be that they're lying second shot and in behind the cover. That's about the best they can do here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. That would be the objective.
Well, we saw much too much weight from Eva Krusta with her previous stone. Iveta Stasas Arsuna, only 60% for her 10 hits today. Actually hasn't been too inaccurate with the takeouts, but that was a really poor shot she threw in the 8th end. I don't think she wants this one swept.
I think she was quite quite certain of that.
Well, if they could get to the nose, it'd be okay. Well, pushes everything to the back of the tee line, and if there was a few more stones to come in this end, that would actually be quite a nice shot. But
there's not that many stones to go. Yes, very certain that she didn't want it swept.
That was almost petulant. Yeah, so nothing fancy required here from China. They just need to get rid of that red stone. And they're going to be massive, massive favourites to win this game.
Yeah, again, sadly, just leaving a very easy shot for Bingyi Wang. Probably not the most challenging shot she's played all week. Open takeout.
Oh, but look at this one, Carl.
Curling a lot, yeah.
Well, hits and rolls out of the rings. Just lost that one a little bit. So it should be a straightforward draw to score here for Stasas Arsuna.
其实你这个点线挺好的。
对，但是我感觉还得再早擦擦，就感觉奔打定的那个点都有点往下偏了，然后到后来就开始往下。
Needs to be fully in the forefoot here and does have backing.
Well, Iveta has been pretty good with her draw shots. Has made a couple of good ones, 71% on 6 draws. Let's see if she can keep it going and get into the forefoot fully to score at least one.
Oh, sensibly just taking a little bit less ice and thinking we can sweep this down onto the back one. Big deep breath. So what's being said here, Roberts?
Oh, that it's a little heavy. It's coming towards the end of the house. So they're aiming for the stone on the back.
Oh, perfect draw though.
Perfect.
Doesn't even need the backing.
One red.
Yeah.
And it will be a score of 1 here in the 9th end to extend this game.
One red.
And after 9 ends, it's China 7, Latvia 5.
Okay, so we're back in the last end, the 10th end of the 2013 Olympic qualification event between Latvia and China, draw 5. The lead of the Latvian team, Una Järmane.
Yeah, and if you've just joined us, my name's Logan Gray, and I have Latvian media expert and Team Stasis Arsuna biographer, Robert Spearsnieks, alongside me for this 5th draw of the women's competition, the BLZ Arena. So going for the tech shot there, Yenjo. And just overthrowing that one a little bit. See that stone running all the way to the barrier. That's really too heavy for that shot. We're seeing the leads throwing that shot lighter and lighter to get the result that they're looking for. A lot of teams just really throwing around a kind of a backline weight these days. Quite happy to keep their shooter to make sure that they get that enemy stone off the center line. Germany looking for a tight guard here, and some excellent setup here by the Latvian lead.
Well, that is what is needed for the Latvian team. They need to be very, very, very aggressive in this end. They need at least a steal of 2 to take it into the extra end. So they need to put up some guards and hope for some mistakes, probably from the Chinese team.
So looking for a little bit less weight this time from Yenjo. Don't think Betty wants this one swept. Oh, and a good shot this time. Just a little bit less weight, a bit more control. Chips the guard to the side.
It's much better than the first attempt.
Oh, another guard here for Sander Bikset. Not throwing to a lot of real estate here. You don't want to put these red stones too close together. It would be pretty much game over if China can make a double peel here. Maybe one of those times that you actually want to go into the house around the center guard just to create a bit more distance between the 2 stones in the center line.
Yes, not leave them too close together so they can be removed much easier.
Oh, mistake here from Jing Xuanyue. Seen her be a wide a couple of times on that in-turn rotation, and a big mistake. So this is actually quite a good chance here for Latvia.
It's giving Latvia some opportunities and options. It's imperative that they stick before the T-line.
Well, they're trying to achieve one of 2 things here. They want to try and get 2 stones in behind those center line guards. The other option is that they could make China face 3 stones with their last and hope for a hit and roll out. Good draw here by Bikset. I would have liked that one maybe down on the T-line, or even beyond the T-line would have been okay in this situation. You want to create a little bit more space to get more stones in behind, but a good draw there by Sander Bikset. Well, looked like a smoother release this time from Hewitt. And just plays the single peel.
So Latvia will attempt to put up another guard. Third of the Latvian team, Ieva Krusta, to deliver her stone.
Well, again, this could be kind of similar to the lead the second's first stone. That could be well worth coming in and freezing that red stone, or even bumping it up a little bit, just to keep good separation on the stones. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to make a really nice freeze here. And China just need to be a little bit careful. So, side by side, Latvia and China and Germany and Japan. And this could well be the end of this game for Germany. Still very much in the hunt on 2 wins. It's a very short round robin, just 6 games for each of the teams, as Yin Liu makes easy work at that peel. So Ogasawara just really needs to get this red stone out of the ring. She's got one in the 8-foot circle to score 1. Already leading by 4 shots over Andrea Schupp. So final stone of the 9th end. Ayumi Ogasawara needs to get past the guard here. Big effort by the sweepers. She's by the guard, and it's going to be a score of 2 for Ogasawara and her Japanese team. Big high fives all round. And Andrea Schupp throws in the white flag. And after 9 ends, make the final. Japan 10, Germany 4. Japan moving on to 4 wins and no losses, and all but guaranteed a place in the playoffs at the weekend. Back in our featured game, can China join Japan on 4 wins, I wonder? Certainly looking good for it at the moment, Roberts.
Yes, it is. It is looking good for them, and getting the 4th victory under their belt will almost certainly ensure that they have qualified for the playoffs, and most likely as the 1-2 team with Japan, because there's so few games left.
Well, having said that, Roberts, I think we should be too hasty to write this game off already. Latvia actually not in too bad a position here in the 10th end.
It's looking okay. Not looking great, but...
Well, what they can achieve here, Roberts, is that they can throw a guard on this one, and then with their last one, they can throw another one into the rings and lie 3, which was one of the scenarios that we threw up earlier in the end. And then they're really praying for a hit and roll out from Chinese skip Bin Yuang,
which she hasn't really been prone to do today, but well, sometimes life forces you to.
Yeah. A little bit of pressure and line game against, then you never know what kind of mistakes can happen, and we saw a hit and roll out from Bin Yuang in the last end. So first things first, Iveta Stasas needs to make the guard and plays a really nice shot here. Good separation between that red guard and the 2 in the house.
It's leaving it quite high, so it's difficult to remove the guard and the stones from the house.
The panic sign goes up there from Bin Yuang, calling a timeout. And Marcel Rock and the translator coach will make their way down to the ice.
往那儿投一个，往那儿投。
3先旋进一个，还旋跟。
先往这儿。
这块我觉得，你要是旋科呢
Of course, Bing Wang speaks exceptional English, but the translator really comes down for the benefit of the rest of the team whose English isn't quite as up to scratch. Of course, the time clocks are stopped at the moment while Marcel makes his way down from the coach's bench. And then as soon as he arrives, the time clocks will resume, and the coach can only stay there for 1 minute. So hopefully we can get a little ear on what Marcel's saying.
Right now, if this is your last shot, what would you be doing? You just draw 8 foot for the win, right?
Yeah.
You have 8 foot draw for the win.
So it's a peel.
If you peel that, they tap that, you got a double, or you got 8 foot at best. Because if they hit and roll a little bit, you've got 8 foot at best.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I think.
How about we want to come around here?
Yeah. And if they freeze tap, or if you hang up and hit and roll, now you've got one in the 4 foot, one in the 4 foot. You need the 4 foot. So you can shrink your amount of circle to draw. You know what I mean?
Yes.
A little bit of a mistake with yours, they pull 3 behind now, 3 behind, and you got to draw a full 4 foot. Right now, you have 8 foot for the win. So if they come around, then you got a piece of 4. Make sense?
Well, I heard a lot of theory there from Marcel, but I don't know exactly what he was suggesting that they do. And I think the body language of the Chinese team says to me that they don't know what Marcel was trying to explain to them.
It didn't sound like the most direct instructions.
I think what was implied by Marcel was that they should peel the guard because they just have to draw the 8 foot to win the game at the moment. If they play a draw into the rings, then China and then Latvia make a hit and roll in behind the guard, then they could have to actually draw the 4 foot. But actually, I quite like the way Marcel operates in that he gives the final decision to the team. He wants them to understand the theories and make the right decisions based on the theories rather than him just coming down and saying, play the peel, and then walking back to the bench. He wants them to understand because it's not just about this game, it's also about future games and ultimately and hopefully for them, the Olympic Games.
And it also leaves the option of the skip deciding what will be the most comfortable shot for the team.
So they're choosing to play the draw. They've done a good job of controlling the scoreboard in the second half of this game. Just one errant peel has really set up this opportunity for Latvia. One thing's for sure here, China cannot be short. They need to get into shot position. And the sweepers are having to go to town on this one.
Really having to go to town on this one.
Oh, that's a really, really poor shot from the Chinese. And now, wow, Latvia could draw around that yellow stone and lie 3 on the center line. So,
I think this was what the coach was warning them about.
Yep, I mean, I hate to criticize a 3-time world champion, but the timeout, I understand trying to teach them the theories, but I think he needs to make sure that China qualifies for the Olympic Games at the end of the day. And I think his implication was that they should play the peel, but he never actually said it. And then went away. I think as a coach, I would hope that the team are clear on what they want to achieve, and they should know exactly what shot they're going to play, ideally, by the end of the timeout. They didn't know that there. They were all standing looking at each other when Marcel left. And it's led to a miss here, and now a great chance for Latvia. They can just hook one right around that yellow stone, and it would be really, really difficult for Bingyuang to possibly even get an extra end out of it. It's just a super position for Latvia at the moment.
It's a very good position. Girls are discussing what they should do. To put up a guard or swing in behind the center guard. I personally think they should go for it and go behind the center guard.
I totally agree, Roberts. I think what they need to bear in mind in here is that at the moment they've only got an extra end. Like Bingyuang can miss her shot completely and it still goes to an extra end. There's so much more pressure added to the final stone of the game when she's throwing against the game. If Latvia can lie 3 and then China miss, then they're giving up 3 and they're losing the game. So they need to throw a draw into the house here and take the risk.
Yeah, and we've seen Bingyuang come up short on 2 draws already this game, so it's probably the best shot to leave for her.
Yeah, and well, the problem here at the moment as well is that Bingyuang just has to draw fully into the 8 foot. That's what Marcel Rock was saying in the timeout, was that the way things sit at the moment, they just have to get fully into the 8 foot to win the game. So for me, that position isn't really worth guarding. They need to get into the 4 foot circle and shrink that scoring area for China's final stone.
Let's put some pressure on Bingyuang, so she needs to draw really to the button to score the 1 point and close out the game.
Well, I don't think they can really achieve much more than forcing Bingyuang to draw the 4 foot. She only has to give up a steal of 1 to win the game, and they're never really going to be able to improve on that. So somewhere in front of the tee line, on the center line would be good enough to do that. So final stone of the 10th end for Latvia needs to be in front of the tee line. Line looking pretty good here.
Okay, sounds like Iveta really wants this swept. And rightly so. Oh!
Well, I think they were holding off on that one because they knew it just had a little bit too much running, but that's a real missed opportunity there. However, Latvia are lying 3 and lying game coming to this final stone for China. Bingyuang will have to draw a piece of the 4 foot. She does have the backing of that red stone and she doesn't have to move it, so that's a huge help for China in this situation. So time just to take a deep breath for Betty here, and then just make it. Well, it's going to come down to the final stone of the 10th end here in draw 5. And here's Chinese skip. Bingyuang needs to cut the 4 foot to win the game here. Looks like they've got a good line. They can just sweep this right down onto the red shot stone. And well played by the Chinese skip. That's going to be good enough to actually score 1. And you just have to think that was a real missed opportunity there for Latvia to really make the Chinese final shot that little bit harder. But another good performance by China, and after 10 ends, make the final. China 8, Latvia 5. Once again, a very entertaining game here in the women's competition. Goes right the way to the last stones. But that surely is the end of Latvia's Olympic dream for this cycle. 4 losses now for the Latvians. And it's certainly the way things are shaping up, you're going to have to get to at least 3 wins and 3 losses to be involved in the tie breaks. Japan and China both moving to 4 wins and no losses now. And all but qualified for the playoffs. Czech Republic and Germany can still get to 4 wins, so that would be 4 teams on 4 wins. But Latvia very much out of contention now.
Yes, sadly enough. I think it's painful to admit, but the 6th place is realistically the only thing we can achieve right now.
Well, it's still a terrific experience for this Latvian side. Still relatively new to the international scene, and playing games like that against ex-world champions. This was the 7th end. China leading by 4 shots to 3, and Iveta Starsa Sarsuna with the final stone here. Just drawing one into the rings against 2 yellow counters, and that would be a score of 1 to tie things up.
So
there's a little bit of discussion there about the sweeping and just not panicking, but China by this stage were in full control of the scoreboard, playing a really solid second half, and this was Bing Yuang, open takeout for 3. No mistake made here. And China moving into what ended up an unassailable lead. However, a terrific 10th end played by the Latvians, forcing China to play against 3 red counters, facing game. And Bing Yuang held her nerve. The sweeper's doing a really good job with this one. Comes in onto the shot stone and pushes it far enough to score 1. And the final score, China 8, Latvia 5. China remaining perfect and going to 4 wins and no losses. Elsewhere in the BLZ arena here in draw 5 of the women's competition, just 2 games out there. Germany losing out heavily to Japan by 10 shots to 4. Japan also remaining perfect, and Norway defeating Italy by 8 shots to 6 to stay in the hunt and move to 2 wins and 3 losses. And this is the standings. China and Japan clear top on 4-0. Czech Republic, Germany and Norway still, Czech Republic and Germany can still get to 4 wins and 2 losses. Norway can't quite manage that, so they're needing some results to go their way. Latvia and Italy now out of contention on 4 losses.
Congratulations, Betty. Another win, 4 wins in a row. Did you expect to do so well at this stage?
Sorry?
Did you expect to do as well as this?
Yeah, I'm so happy we have a good start, and we have the 2 more games, and we hope we can win all of that. But I think it's the important thing is we will play better in the qualifying game. So it's just right now I think we need feel more comfortable and get the feel on these games.
You talked yesterday about getting a Christmas present. Were you given any presents in that game today?
I think the Latvia today play very well. It's don't have many mistakes to give us, and it's like a tough game. It's always close, and the last end is so tough for us. And I think we lose the control on that. We have to be careful, but I think we play not bad like yesterday. The 3-end, so I think we just keep going, and sometimes I have to be careful.
So we can see better from China, better play from China to come?
Yes, I think we play better and more comfortable right now. And the important thing is we win the 4 games right now, and I think we got enough confidence for win the qualifying.
Okay, well done today again with the win. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there's the thoughts of the winning skip here in draw 5. Bingyu Wang and her Chinese team defeating Latvia by 8 shots to 5 and looking good for qualifying for the Olympics. From myself, Logan Gray, and Robert Spierzniaks, thanks for watching, and join us for more later on from the BLZ Arena.